We didn't have electricity or a phone or running water for the first 3 years of my life. I was the oldest of 4 children. It was an exciting time to be a kid because Sputnik was launched by the Soviets. When I was about 9 years old, I decided I wanted to be an astronaut. I declared that I was going to go to college. Well, nobody in my family had ever been to college, and certainly financially we weren't in that position. So my senior year, I was able to apply for the National Defense Education Act loan and grant. The University of Washington accepted me. I thought I was going to go into aerospace engineering, and I was approached by the chair of the Mining, Metallurgical, and Ceramic Engineering Department, telling me that if I was interested in space, they had a NASA grant to develop protective materials for the Space Shuttle. And Dr. Jim Muller said, I will introduce you to NASA engineers. Well, that sold me, and that's how I came to be a ceramic engineer. I took a job with Boeing, and while I was there, the department chair, Doc Muller, called me and said, Bonnie, we have some more NASA grants, and I think you ought to come back for your master's degree. I graduated after 2 years and then came back to take my position with Rockwell International. We were working on Columbia, this advanced science fiction vehicle with wings that could carry up to 8 people. It was an exciting time. In 1977, they opened up the first application for the Space Shuttle astronauts. I applied, was selected into the final 100, but when they announced I wasn't part of that class, I was approached by NASA, says, well, you were a finalist. We'd like to know if you'd be interested in maybe taking a position here. I moved to Houston. When I looked at the resumes of the 35 astronauts selected for the 78 class, all of the civilians had doctoral degrees. So I drove up to the University of Houston to see if I could enroll into a PhD program while working full-time. 2 years later, I reapplied and I was selected. So I had a very long career in the astronaut office. And then I went into the senior executive service, which is management, before I retired from NASA. The Museum of Flight was a great opportunity because it was the largest private air and space museum in the United States. They wanted me to grow their programming and to build a gallery, bring space into this air and space museum. Currently, I'm in the aerospace engineering department at Texas A&M University. I think the University of Houston offers that opportunity to get a very good education and a great engineering college. Well, this is very special. Maybe not so much about me, but the opportunity the University of Houston gave me. So this means a great deal to me.
Presenting Bonnie with her medallion this evening is Cullen College of Engineering Dean Joe Tedesco. Ladies and gentlemen, Bonnie Dunbar.
Well, thank you, Dean Tedesco. It's almost like being hooded again. I think anybody that sits up here or stands up here is really taking the opportunity to say thank you, but also to acknowledge that you're not here by yourself. And when I approached the University of Houston department chair at that time, Bob Neeram, as a very unconventional student, said I wasn't an astronaut. I was a flight controller in mission control. I wanted to start my PhD on a master's, but by the way, I couldn't afford to stop working, but I would do whatever it took to get that PhD, work, night school, whatever it took. Bob took that leap of faith, and NASA did too, because they paid for my tuition and fees. And yes, for about 5 years, I didn't have a life, but it was all worth it. So that I was selected into the 80 class, just short of my dissertation being complete, but I did complete it and then flew my first flight in 1985. I was very grateful many years later to be approached by Dean Tedesco in 2012, I think it was, to offer me another career change. I've had about 4 careers, I guess. You never stick with one. And it was to come back into academia here at the University of Houston. And I was here in the College of Engineering for 3 years, and I've been very grateful for that change because I've been very happy in academia. I'm A&M now, but it's given me an opportunity to feed back into the future, our youth, students standing over there in mechanical engineering. The University of Houston was one of the first homes of the NASA Johnson Space Center before they built down in Clear Lake. Many of our graduates here at the University of Houston populate the engineering departments there and the mission control departments, so we truly are part of that third leg of the stool in aerospace in Houston. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity. It's given me a whole new future. There's no end to academia, I think. At my table tonight, I have some very special people with me. First of all, Dick and Lois Richards. Dick was in my 1980 class, was my commander for my third shuttle flight, but more importantly, when I was able to get hooded in 1983, they were at my graduation, which was actually, and they may not know this, my first graduation. I wasn't able to afford to go through my bachelor's and master's graduation exercises because I was pretty poor at the time, and you had to pay for all the regalia and so forth. So actually, when I received my doctoral degree was the first time I was able to go through that ceremony, and they're here with me tonight as well. So thank you for hanging in there all those years. And then while I was here at the University of Houston, I also had the opportunity to direct the space architecture program, the SIXA program, Sasakawa International Center for Space Architecture, and to take some of the reins from Larry Bell, who's with us tonight, and with the new director of that program, Dr. Olga Banova. You're very fortunate to be so close to space here, and if you forgive me for advertising for Space Center Houston, but please go down and visit it and see what a great history this city has. So I won't take much more time. It's thank you. I know that without the University of Houston, I wouldn't be standing here tonight. Thank you.